started running it first thing today. So today, just today, we got, oh, it's over 20. I believe it was 21 total, but he never gave me a final. So,
That's so crazy.
I mean, it's the fastest way I've ever seen to pick up appointments. So he built that out for us. So I just called my guy down in Texas. He's one of my business partners, and he's running all that. And he gets a commission off all of our appointments through
Yeah.
on the construction side, helping set this whole system up. And I was like, hey, I want to try this. And I got him logged in. He's on my team in my account, and I was like, yeah, see what you can do. And he went and started loading it up and got it all done
Wow.
yesterday and ran it this morning. And he was like, he called me. And he's like, dude, it went really well. I was like, did you get some? He goes, no, we didn't get some. We've got like 20 something. I was like, what? You're shitting me. He goes, no, dude, I'm going to have you booked. I'm like, holy crap.
Man,
Okay.
that is legit. I love
No,
it.
thank you, man. I'm like really excited about this system. I was telling her I've used it all, dude. Property radar, prop stream. This is better than all those. I'm really, really excited about this system. So
Thank you, man. Yeah. Appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah. What do you think? What's been like your biggest takeaway of why it's working so well? Like what makes it different in your opinion?
oh, hands down, I know what makes it different because I've used the other ones. Most of these numbers are good. When I've used property radar, the biggest thing I ran into, the biggest adversary, if you will, they're kind of twofold. There's two different reasons it was a problem for me. The first one is you have to hand take every single one out of that system. You
Mhm.
have to, it's kind of a long process to get to the phone number.
Mhm.
And it's hard to explain. Basically, you click on the address, you have to click on the profile, then you click on the phone, then you have to unlock it with your credits, and then you pull it up, and then you have the phone number, then you have to hand put it into our caller. It just wasn't working. So
Yeah.
that's why this got my attention. So that's the first part is it's super easy to pull these out, even though we had to do it manually this time because we're still on the free trial, so we couldn't do it, which that's going to make it even faster. But anyway, so that's part of it. The other part of it is the numbers are actually good. We have a
Mhm.
major issue with their numbers are like there's like a 50% chance they're not even good numbers,
Yeah.
and the large majority of the stuff coming through here, it's worked. They've been good numbers. They're up to date. They're current. So that's obviously helpful when you're actually talking to the owner. So
Wow. I mean, so for us, I'll say that is awesome to hear, just especially because, hey, we spent quite a bit on trying to make sure we have high quality data, more than anything, the contact info like that. So I always get, super excited hearing people going out there testing it and having that great experience with us. Especially because the biggest thing is when we launched it and said, hey, it's gonna be free contact info, like free skip tracing for everybody. That we knew we had to have quality data or it wouldn't matter. Like if people came
yeah,
in, but it's terrible, then like, what is it worth really, right? So we really double down on the quality of that. And I know
Well, I
recently.
had an aha too. I jumped on.
Mhm.
I whenever I get into something like this online, I'm always trying to get help, and you always have to go through the chat bot, or you have to send a message and wait for something to come back.
Mhm.
I think you have 3 or 4 days a week that you have office hours, and I
Yep.
was just trying to get the link right to give it to somebody, and I jumped on, and there was 12 people on there asking questions, and they
There
were
you go.
getting detailed answers. So I was very impressed. Well, if I can't figure something out, I can get on there and get help.
We already started jumping into this. Kim, any other takeaways that you had, over these 7 days, or anybody else?
My takeaway is Matt's 21 leads. So,
Yeah, that's massive. That's huge.
but
Um,
he did take massive action. He didn't go and make 50 calls.
so I know we've contacted at least I don't know 300-400 people, so I can get the totals and send them over and let
I
everyone
mean,
see them. I'm that so
that would still be what a 5 to 10% lead rate per.
very
It's
high,
still
yeah, way higher
still
than we
awesome.
get.
Yeah,
That's why we're all kind of looking at like, holy cow, why was that so high? It worked really, really well. So yeah.
amazing, man. So
You
that
drove for
that has
dollars
been.
well.
Yeah, yeah. Did anybody else really have any takeaways or any like really exciting results they could share with the group or anything? Or even if you just made one phone call, that's a win, right? You're like getting closer and closer to a deal. Eddie, did you have anything? Or
Yeah, man. It works really, really well. I've used this. I wrote off Deal Machine like a few months ago. Like I tried, it was very glitchy, like going driving for deals, and I was like, crap, pen and paper seems to be the best thing. But since going through this and everything, I also updated my phone. It could have been that too. I don't know. But it worked really, really well. Like I was able to really mark down places that I've already been. I haven't yet worked out the where it traces my steps or something like that. It keeps saying, "Hey, change your
Route
settings
tracking.
or
Yeah.
background," and I'm like, I'm looking, can't find that, but otherwise, like it will mark the house where I'm at, or it's because
Okay.
sometimes it's very hard to figure out what property you're at because like the like one property right next to it and the one you're looking at don't have numbers readily available, and then the ones next to it you can't really trust because sometimes house numbers skip like six or eight numbers. I'm like, okay, I see 44, 46. What was it, 44, 46? Why is it now in 60? Like, where happened to these numbers? Things like that. Like, I got properties all over, and they're it's very interesting. Like, I got one is 8720. The next house right next to me is 8726. I'm like, what the heck? So it was very helpful with because again, you can see from the map the shape of the properties, or if you're like, okay, cool, I was at the
Yeah.
end corner, it's the third one from the end. Yep, this is the house. So it helps. It's very accurate. And also calling, like pressing the button, calling really easy. I didn't have to like go back, try and skip trace anywhere else. Most of them worked, and the ones that didn't, I'll take a look and see with my regular skip tracing if it's the same numbers or not. But I'm pretty sure it's pretty comparable to anywhere else. And sometimes if you're looking at if you're looking at a bad house, probably either someone's dead, so that's probably why if you look up their number, it don't work, or if they can't afford to fix up their property, they might not be, might be struggling with paying their phone bill as well. So I don't. I think the accuracy, if the numbers are there, they're there most likely.
Yeah, I think a lot of good pro tips there. I mean, well, one, in terms of the driving for dollars piece, if you tried it a little while ago, when we're adding one thing about adding new things is that you kind of add new stuff and then you have to make sure you also go back and refine the performance of every other piece. So we always have like a innovation period and a refinement period as well. So we're kind of like going, always back and forth there. So maybe you caught it during like some updates, or updating your having the latest version of a phone always helps a ton with really just mobile apps in general for
Hmm.
performance.
Hmm.
So hopefully that helped. If you go and you figure out your background location, one other pro tip is on, when you're on the map there, the
There
top
you
left,
go.
there's
Yeah,
that.
it does that. Your background is turned off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out how to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so you'll have to like go to your settings and basically turn it on for when the app's on. There is a little camera button. I don't know if you can kind of see that little.
Yeah, I see the camera button.
So
Yeah.
that when you click on that too, it's like an augmented reality mode essentially. So when you point your
Hmm.
phone at the house, it'll actually pull up the address of the house that way too. So it's like a directional based way of adding leads and making sure you have the right property. So we've seen people like have success with that. Obviously, if you're driving, that's going to be a little bit tougher, right? Like that's pretty good if you've got like somebody in shotgun with you and they can use that mode. But just another kind of pro tip of ways to make sure you're adding the right house too. So, um, yeah.
My bad. My mind was blown for a second there. I had to put it back together. That's crazy. I like that as
Yeah,
well.
it's something that's new word too. And yeah, it basically uses like directional what you're doing on your phone and then pulls over and says, here's, the address of this house you're looking at. So, yeah, I'd recommend it.
That's
Um,
cool.
but yeah,
Okay.
man. So, that's awesome. I mean, I love you kind of going through all that. It's the skip tracing piece too. That's something that I know the contact info, like we did a ton of testing on that, and I'll say there's nothing better out there in terms
Mhm.
of accuracy from our testing. So we're again always trying to improve that, take that to the next level. So check out that Unveiled event, and I think you'll be very happy with that too. So
Yeah, and it was really cool because I just used my phone, like I pressed the button and was able to make the phone call right then and there. So
yep,
it
yep,
helped out tremendously just to take immediate action. Oh, see the property, let me do that. Or even with me reverse driving for deals, since I do a lot of pre-foreclosure knocks, it's
yep.
like cool, typing in the address, and I've been looking now to try and find the best way to type in all the addresses and then like it tell me which ones to go, the route to go to make it more efficient as well with door knocking. So
Nice, man.
helped out a ton and everything like that, and also saved me some time with not having to door knock some just because I'm able to quickly press a button on the drive there and be like, "Oh, you're good, okay," or
Yep.
"Oh, you're not. Here, I'm dropping by." So being able to hit that with accuracy is pretty great.
Man, hey,
Cool.
I'd love to see let's see you guys taking action like this. That's what it's all about, right? Like we can go teach you guys every single night what you hypothetically should be doing, but not until you actually go out
Hmm.
there, follow through and put some work in, does it really matter, right? So it's all, again, congrats to all you guys for taking that step, for taking these 7 days serious, and we're gonna be a resource for a long time to come. Not just these 7 days. So um, good stuff, Eddie. Awesome. Feel free, guys, to keep putting wins in the chat. Anything around how much progress you made. Any lessons you learned. It's a great time to just kind of crowdsource that knowledge and share with each other of pro tips and things that are working for you, and that's how we all get better together, right? So, um, fantastic. Again, this challenge was all about giving you that playbook to go direct to seller. That's our mission, is to give everyone the power of real estate investing using technology. And the more that we can teach you guys, hey, here's what's working in today's market, the more effective you guys can be at that. Again, we've had over 10,000 deals done using DealMachine based on this playbook. That's what this challenge came from, is listening to you guys, what's working, and try to share that, with our customer base. So came from people like Ryan here that we talked about each day. He went through a 30-day version of this, and on day 17 he did a deal. So everybody who went through the 7 day version, keep going. Like maybe by day 17 here we can get some deals under our belt, right? And then Patrick Martin was another one who, again, had no experience in real estate, went to kind of this YouTube university, right? Like went out there and taught himself a lot of this stuff, and ended up doing 14 deals in his first 10 months of actually going out there and taking action. So that was our goal with that. But what I want to start off with is a quick training recap, just briefly cover again how to build that list briefly, any quick pro tips for people, the marketing side as well. Just really touch on that again, for anybody who wasn't there, or if you were there, great, get in one more rep of what you can be doing, what you should be doing, how to think about this in the right way. And then I'll get to the new stuff, which is how to really close that deal with confidence by using a couple different tools to follow up with leads, always stay top of mind, and know about, like, what to offer, that kind of offer number, how to get to that max level offer with a seller there. So Eddie, you had a question there? Go ahead, man.
Hey, how are you doing this expired listings? I see the
Mhm.
expired listing feature.
Yeah, so we've got MLS data in there as well. So you can look at on market activity, like you can look at listed properties, expired listings, days on market, agent information about who's listing it, all that kind of stuff. That's in there too, but really with this specific challenge, we really focus on the off market stuff.
Oh, I get it. No, that's why I was saying that. Yeah, yeah, expired, because sometimes I call of them just to be able to, sometimes offer seller financing deals, things like that. Because
Mhm.
sometimes people want what they want as far as the number goes, but they're like, oh yeah, I didn't think about the tax ramification. Yeah, I'll take this deal at this rate, whatever. So I was just
Yep,
wondering, because I have MLS access. If I'm already paying for this, there's no reason you might save me $100 here. So
exactly.
I'm just
Yeah.
like, how accurate is this? Like, is it off of once it just reports what's on the MLS, like through Zillow or actually on the MLS, and then what goes away, like after it expires, or is it just like taking MLS access to expired listings, and when it's reports that it's expired, says expired on the both ends?
I will say, in general, our property data is updated daily, like system wide. For that specific use case, if you email me, I'll make sure I'll just loop in our head of product, Dan, on our team.
Okay, okay.
And, he's got, again, like, 700, 800 different data points here that he can really go through and knows, hey, here's where it's coming from and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, and any data specific questions on like where you're getting this data point or that one, I'm
Hmm,
happy
hmm.
with and to make sure that I get you the right information there, man. But
It's all
uh,
right, man. You answered an even better question, is how accurate is it? And you're like, oh, I do is we scrape it daily. Oh, okay.
yeah,
So yeah, I'm
yeah,
definitely no
yeah.
longer. You just saved me $100.
Great. Well, what we were looking at again, just again at those training recaps. The first day was all about building that list of motivated sellers. Getting out there and identifying the most motivated sellers in your market by driving. Then after day one, we then kicked over to day what, four. It was right in the middle, right? It was Monday of how do you market to and negotiate with sellers. Day five, there we go. Thank you, Kim. How do you market to and negotiate with sellers? And really some of the main principles of that, We talked about one, you want to take your 100 driving for dollars leads. We made that first goal. And the reason why we told you that is when we look at the data, that number 100 is kind of the magic number of, we know if you guys go out there, build your list of 100 leads, that you are statistically way, way more likely to have long-term success with this strategy, because you're starting to get momentum. You're seeing, Matt, and you're seeing Eddie, you're seeing these people get traction. You're starting to see, hey, this works, right? Just a matter of putting in the work, and it's not a matter of if it'll happen, it's when it'll happen. So getting those reps in by going out there and doing this over and over, we know if you can get to the number 100, again, you are way more likely to stick with this and see the long-term picture. You may even do a deal on those first 100 leads, but the goal is to help you, continue to do more and more and more deals, right? And be consistent about this. So we then taught you guys, okay, once you have those 100 leads, how to reach out to them. One, try to reach out to them in a variety of ways. If you can reach out in a couple different ways, you're going to stand out way more effectively. You have a way higher response rate, and you have a better chance of communicating with that seller in their preferred method of communication. So, if you're able to reach out with Matthew talked about a text, or you can call, you can send emails, you can door knock or leave flyers on the door, you can, send direct mail. You've got all these different options that we showed you guys. So if you're able to kind of do a variety of those things, a mix of them, at least a couple different strategies, and then also do an active and a passive strategy. So an active strategy meaning one-to-one outreach, that would be the call, text, door knock, that stuff that isn't easy to scale per se or automate, and then combine that with your automation with, for example, sending direct mail, and hit start mail on that lead and just let the postcards show up at their door without you having to touch anything else. That's the winning formula, where you're actively reaching out to them, actively building relationships, and then also staying top of mind long term, where you're consistently staying in front of them using direct mail and things like that. That was kind of the two-pronged approach that we talked about last time, to really be able to give yourself a great chance, just statistically, of being the one that gets a conversation with them when they are ready to sell. So what it looked like, again, inside the DealMachine app, once you had that list of 100 leads, we clicked over to the leads tab, right? And we showed you guys, there's a couple different options. One, you can drive a list. So like Eddie was talking about there, you can jump in and you're able to go in and kind of do, kind of that reverse D for D, where you're pulling a list of properties, and you open that up and you can hit, for example, where is it here? Select all, and then lead actions, and drive this list, right? You also can do that from a standpoint of in the mobile app as well. You can hit drive for leads in the bottom left corner, and then one of the options that pops up is planned route or drive from a list. Either one will work for you. That's a pro feature, so if you want to do that, make sure you're on DealMachine Pro, and it's going to give you turn-by-turn navigation to every single lead on that list. So that's our goal right there, is to help you get out there and just be efficient with your door knocking, be efficient with any kind of in-person touch point by driving a list that way. We also showed you guys cold calling, right? So you've got your dialer already set up, ready to go. You just click that call button, and it'll start to make that call, where it mirrors the area code and pulls up our AI-powered dialer, where it transcribes the call. It gives you suggestions in the call, kind of coaches you through the call in real time based on where you're at in the conversation, and then even gives you a suggested next step with an automatic follow-up reminder from it. So we walked through all of that last time. The phone numbers and emails are already included in your DealMachine account, as we've talked about here, which hopefully that saves you up to hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Like, for example, here I've got 14,000 leads. Normally that would cost me $1,500 or more to skip trace that entire list, and now you've got the phone numbers ready to work with. And Matthew, that's awesome to hear how accurate they've been for you. Like that's we've been getting that feedback a lot, so we really focus on accuracy there for you guys. You not only have the phone numbers, but when you click on a property, you can see things around the property owner. You can see things around the property data right here, in terms of characteristics and tax information, transaction history, lien data, all kinds of different stuff. So you can go in knowing who you're talking to and what the property's going through before you even call. So you've got all that due diligence right there for you. And that way you can come in ready to have a great conversation, kind of knowing, hey, here are problems I can potentially solve for them and try to help have that conversation with them. And so, Kim had mentioned like, hey, how do you talk to a seller, right? How do you actually have that conversation? That's something that I think, one, coming in, doing your research, coming in, doing some due diligence, so like, hey, if I click on a lead, I know this is a senior owner. This is a kind of adjustable loan, right? So that I could present different situations. I can click on that owner and see like, oh, do they own any other properties, right? Like, and tell me more about that person. Hey, this is they've got a home business or a business owner themselves, so they own other businesses besides this. So you can just kind of do a little bit of digging here to really come in again ready to ask great questions, ready to know, hey, they've got a second mortgage on this property. Like you can see a variety of things there, so that way you're coming in like prepared to ask great questions. And in general, there's kind of four main pillars we try to teach people on questions to ask. It's really the acronym is MCTP, M being motivation. So asking questions around why they're looking to sell and why aren't they lit current, why don't they want to list it and things like that. Like I would really address that head on, especially like, hey, why aren't you going the retail route? Why aren't you just listing the property? It can be scary to ask that question, but it will really uncover like, here's the real motivation behind a lot of this. Um, the C is condition. So has there been any updating recently? What's the condition of the property? What would you improve to it? If, have you done any work on it in the last 5 years? Things like that. The T is on timeline. So when are you looking to sell? What needs to happen before you sell? What even like who are all the decision makers, right? When do they need to be involved? Like, when are you looking to move? Like, what is your next plan after you move or after you sell? So kind of the timeline, the whole context around that. And then finally price and getting to that asking price of, hey, what would it take for you to be able to move on from this property? Like really kind of addressing that head on. And you will see a lot of people, especially if you're like cold calling, for example, they might right away say, well, what do you offer me? Like, give me a number. And they might push towards that, earlier on. You'll at least run into some people who do that. I always try to back it off and say, hey, you know what? I'd love to give you a fair offer here, but we need to learn a little bit more about the property before I can do that. And so that way you can kind of talk through the rest of that process, uncover the real motivations. And a lot of times, if you go through that and you build a great relationship with them, build some trust with them, really get them to open up by asking good questions and just listening and being open mind, asking those open-ended questions, right? And trying to focus on solving their problem. By the end of the discussion, price sometimes isn't even necessarily the main driver. So, so I would highly recommend going through those other pillars before you get to that pricing pillar. So, that's something like going into the conversation, whether it be that initial conversation and or the appointment itself. I always dig into those kind of four main pillars there. But Kim, I love the notes that you're taking there. Do you have any other tips on those kind of pillars and whatnot?
Well, one of the things I always like to open with is just setting back and, having a little bit of rapport building at the beginning, just so that we can decide that we'll talk to each other. But then tell me about your situation. And if they're a motivated seller, they will tell you everything you need to know most of the time. They'll tell you way more than you would ever need to know. Their social security number, their mortgage bank account, they will tell you everything if they're motivated. The other thing is, don't prejudge what the seller will do. Because I've had, as a seller, multiple realtors look at my listing and say, you're priced too high. And I'm like, okay, make me an offer. And they won't, because God forbid they made me an offer 20,000 less than my list price. Well, I listed it having no idea what the house is worth, so I threw it out there. Make me an offer.
Yeah.
And people won't do that. So even if they want, we had a house, it was a bank-owned house. They had it listed for I think 500,000. It was a high-end house, and the investor came in with a $400,000 offer. They counter offered them really high. The investor stood on their price, and the investor got their price, and that was a bank. So these sellers will do a lot of things you don't think they will. So don't prejudge what they're willing to do.
That's a great tip. Yeah, especially around price. Yeah, like always make that offer, see where you're at. I know the goal with the direct marketing like that is to be able to have those initial conversations and kind of qualify. And no matter what the offer or whatever number they throw out there, I would always recommend booking the appointment if you're gonna, go in person like that, because that's when you have a real chance to dig in on all this stuff and really build a relationship and really get to that reasonable price. People can change a lot within that. So um,
Yeah, the
you know,
only time we don't go look is if we just don't like the house. We look at it and it's next to a gas station. Well, we don't want to buy a house next to a gas station, so we don't go look at those. But otherwise, if we look at it on Google and we're like, oh, we love that house, it doesn't matter what the price is, we're going to go look at it because we might be able to solve the problem. And because we're realtors, we can always solve the problem if they're willing to let us. So,
Mhm. There we go. Love it. Um, so you've got all that at your disposal there. We also mentioned the direct mail too. So if you go into that mail tab and design your own postcards, you can use one of our default templates or create your own. I will point out on the default templates, you've got ones that are kind of investor focused and ones that are actually agent focused too. So you've got a couple different angles you can work there. And again, you can create your own from scratch if you want as well. It's kind of like a little mini Photoshop designer inside of DealMachine there. So you've got all that where you can create templates of various sizes, even handwritten letters, ballpoint letters that you can send one off as well. They look just like this. And so you've got all that inside DealMachine too. And that's where you can go in, create a sequence of these things, and then just set it and forget it and click, send mail. And when you start sending out that mail, it's going to be, that's the automation right there, the power of basically generating leads in your sleep, where you can hit start mail and then choose how often you want the postcard to be sending to them, in what order, and really just set it all up so that way one click and you don't have to worry about it at all at that point. Just wait for the calls to come in long term from that. So
and
um,
for those of you looking at ballpoint marketing, you can't get one-offs unless you're going through DealMachine. I learned that because I'm like, I want one-offs. And they're like, well, you have to go through DealMachine because we don't sell them one-off to anybody else.
the only way to do it, yeah, they I think it's like 500 minimum if you don't
Yeah.
go through us. So any other questions, guys, when it comes to marketing, having so Brooke, the call piece in terms of follow-up right here, you have a follow-up cadence that you can pre-program into DealMachine. So if you go into your account, click on the profile top right corner, go to your application settings and then dialer settings right here. There's a little follow-up button, and that follow-up right there is going to show you things like, hey, if they don't answer, remind me in 30 days to call them back. Or, hey, if they are a warm lead, they say someday I'll sell, it'll automatically remind you in 14 days. So whenever you're saying like, hey, if I call, the system said if the lead called the number back. Oh, I get what you're saying here in the free trial period.
Yeah, well, it call her
Oh,
back
gotcha,
if
gotcha.
she's on the free trial, but if she pays, it'll call back forever.
Yeah, so basically with it, you have a 14-day guaranteed window. After that, numbers can be recycled. I'll say it's usually much, much longer than that before they're recycled. Also, statistically, after 14 days, your odds of getting a callback are extremely low. So I would say, in general, like they're assigned to you until they were assigned to a different lead inside DealMachine. So it usually takes much longer. And once 14 days are up, I highly recommend calling them back again anyway, because again, your odds are very low that they'll call that number back at that point. So um, hopefully that answers your question. I misunderstood it at first, so that's thanks for the clarification there. Um, awesome, cool. So yeah, no problem, Brooke. So in terms of the new stuff as well, let's go back here. Cool. Now, like I mentioned, final step here, closing deals with confidence. So we've got three separate tools I do want to touch on here for a few minutes each. Really, the goal here is again, the and I know we've talked about this, but really kind of the fortune is in the follow-up. If you're able to stay organized, to stay on top of, top of people's minds, build that relationship long term, and be there when they are ready to sell. That I mean, that's a winning formula that the vast majority of people do not pull off very well. I will say that entire process as well, it's something that requires you to be organized and you to be consistent in your follow-up and you to be really focused on how to stay top of mind with people by always making sure you have that next step in place with them. And so inside Deal Machine, we've kind of got a light CRM to help you with that, where you can go back into the software and any individual lead you're working, when you click on that property, you'll see there is an activity button right here. And when you click on activity, you've got then notes and tasks that you can add right here. So anytime that you make a phone call, all your notes automatically get transcribed and added. If you call outside of Deal Machine, you can add a note and type whatever you'd like and attach files and things. But the task manager is probably the most useful portion, where you can click on a task and say they said, say they said, hey, come by for an appointment tomorrow at 4 p.m. Great. Appointment at 4 p.m. tomorrow. I book that, create that task. And now when I wake up every single morning, jump in Deal Machine and see, hey, here's what I need to do today. Like there's a little task manager, this top right corner, that little notification button, to make sure that every single lead you're working with, you've always got that next task lined up, ready to be able to tackle. So you've got that there. You've got this little follow-up reminder too, where if you click on this, is the weather getting rough, Kim? I see you keep looking out there. But you click on this follow-up reminder, and you can scroll down and see like, oh, I need to call this person, this person, this person. So you've got all of that ready to go for you to be able to follow up and make sure you stay, again, top of mind at the right time. No worries, Kim. So you've got the task manager, you've got that follow-up button right there. That's all going to really separate you from the competition if you can stay organized using kind of the light CRM and using those follow-up reminders. Now, as you go through, when you actually talk to that individual and you get to that number of like, hey, what is it worth? Like, what is my max allowable offer? A couple things. One, knowing the ARV, the after repair value, is extremely important, right? It's knowing what is that, how do I comp this property, find comparable properties that recently sold, and therefore value this property of what it looks like when it's all fixed up and after repairs, and what is the market value of that getting right now. And so when you click on any property inside Deal Machine, you'll notice we had that, we covered mail, info, activity. There's a little comps button right here. And that comes with every single Deal Machine, whether it's on mobile or desktop. You click on comps. And again, like I mentioned, we've got MLS data in here, right? You can go in and you can actually filter your comps. So you can go in and say, hey, show me properties, and let me go to the settings. Show me properties that are on the MLS data. That's always going to be more up to date than county records. Date range, let's tighten it up to 3 months, see what we get here. Square footage range, I usually recommend plus or minus 15%. Same thing with year built, plus or minus 15 years. So it's relatively the same size, same architecture and build, same style. And then, default range, we can do half a mile right here, confirm that. And, you can always do bed and bath and everything down here too. And now I've got 11 comps that fit that particular criteria. Now let me go in even further and use the draw tool. So I've got this little pencil right here that I know, like, hey, if I want to stay on this side of Christie, let me go in and draw around this particular area. So now I know this is getting even more specific, more exact, and now I'm down to 8 comps, and I can really go through and make sure that each individual property is a true comp to the one I'm looking at, and use this to be able to come up with what is that dollar per square footage in that area, right? And project that onto what this property is worth. And so going through your kind of comping process, coming up with that after repair value using the mobile app or the desktop version, we want to make that as super streamlined and easy for you as possible inside Deal Machine. And that way you can then kind of work it backwards and say, okay, great. Now, if I know based on the comps what the ARV is, then plug that into your offer formula, right? To what you're going to actually offer here. what I'll mention in addition to that is to work that formula, for example, if you're on Deal Machine Pro, like we've been talking about here, you have one other tool that I want to make sure to touch on here before the giveaway. And that's when you click into any individual property, there's a little purple, let me find a better example here. Oh, these are all commercial. Let me find one that's residential here. Okay, here we go. You've got a little purple circle down here, right? You click on that, and similar to the dialer, you've got Alma, the AI assistant, built into the property card as well. And what this AI chat is really good at, two things. One, you've got how to talk to sellers. So you can come in and say, like, hey, help me write an SMS message, or, help me write five more. You can come in here and kind of use it. Um, you know, uh, as a little kind of wordsmith and messaging chatbot here, but what it's using is chat GPT mixed with all this off-market property data and all of our prompting too. So it's really just kind of like a real estate hyper specific and focused specialized version of chat GPT. So you've got all of that right here. And then in addition to that, it also has deal analysis built in. So you can come in here and say, hey, I already know the ARV. Well, great. Let me go in, and if I can either type in the bottom or click on the preset prompts and say, like, hey, calculate the offer price for me. I want to, wholesale it, or, whatever the exit strategy is. It'll break that down for you right there and basically say, here's the max allowable offer based on the ARV, based on what margin you want, based on the rehab costs. You can come in here and say, hey, I think the rehab is 30K instead. Cost is 30K. And it'll come in and, okay, cool, let me redo that for you. So you can go in and basically use that to be your assistant inside the Deal Machine app, in addition to the comping tool, and really just, again, have kind of this analysis for you with just a couple clicks. So all of that combined are ways, again, to come to that confident offer, use data to do so, and then stay top of mind with your follow-ups until you close the deal. So um, I know,
How's
I
it
know I briefed
coming
that
up
one.
with a repair cost?
Good question. So the repair cost, that's probably the one piece that I would recommend really doing your own math as well. But it is a pretty awesome kind of initial formula. Essentially, it's using the dollar per square footage cost of the area, and what's projected for general rehab. It's using building condition data right here. So we do have building condition codes that we've are piping in data from I know counties are involved, and Dan can answer that question on exactly how we get all the building condition stuff. And then we're multiplying it by the size of the property as well. So the rehab cost is basically like, hey, how much does it cost to fix a property in that area based on the condition and then the size of the property?
So
So
the tax appraiser kind of guesses what the condition is, and that's probably where it's coming from.
yeah, yep, that's roughly it there too.
Okay.
Um, let's see
If
here.
they actually do the appraisal, they don't do that in Jackson County. They just make things up.
Counties can be definitely messy in how they're, categorizing and collecting data and things. So, in the end, it's about like, hey, how do you build real relationships with the seller? And we want to give you as much data as possible to digest it and take action. But the real thing across the board that's going to make you successful is taking that action consistently and getting out there and again, talking to more and more sellers and giving yourself opportunities at bats here. So, um, there we go, guys. Any other questions on the follow-up stuff, the CRM, the comping, making offers, the AI assistant, any of those tools to help you here? I know I want to be able to get to that giveaway here soon.
Uh, I was looking at your pricing
Hmm.
structure, and it's talking about litigator scrub. And I just was wondering, so you're running it against the do not call list. Are
Yep.
you running it against known people that are suing people?
Yeah, so we actually have a known litigators list that's piped in here too. So you can't filter by that, but it is included in the data. So we're moving that from you so that way you're not calling people who we know are litigators. So
Okay.
yep, that's built in as well. Um, awesome. Any
All right.
other uh urgent questions, guys, before we get to the the fun stuff here.
I did have one question. It's not urgent, but I was just curious if it was kind of what I've gotten to know about using direct mail. I do a lot of direct mail. I like it. That's why I started sending out a deal machine. Have you found that the highest returns come between the third to fifth postcard that you send? Is that what you guys run into as well?
Yeah, it's for sure. Yeah, it's for sure multiple. I know for statistically, it's anything above that third one is really where you're gonna get much
Yep.
more in terms of callbacks and things like that. So,
Uh,
um, I don't know if like the fifth one per se is when you would necessarily need to stop or anything, but if you know, you obviously want to budget as well. So it's like, hey, yeah, if if you can't, if you're not wanting to afford or not wanting to send one every single month for a year or two, right? Then hey, maybe spread them out a little bit. Weekly postcards, I would say that probably is too much. I actually recommend every once a month roughly, but if you want to get even more specific, once every 3 weeks or once every 5 weeks, because then it staggers when during the month they're getting that postcard. And so that way, if you just get unlucky and it's coming with like monthly bills and things, you'll avoid that because it's going to change when each month they're getting the postcard. So, yeah, I think weekly would be a little too much, especially considering like the post office, it's gonna they're not
They
always
might
like
get them all at once.
yeah, exactly. It might like not be as organized as you would hope. It can't be as exact that way. So, um,
But it also depends on the if you're just doing your driving for dollars, that's one thing. But if you're stacking motivation and you have specific types of motivation, you might mail more often or less often,
true.
depending on. So, like if you're dealing with, say, somebody that's in foreclosure in Kansas City in Missouri that has 21 days between the notice and foreclosure, in theory, you might mail them more often, but you're probably not going to be mailing them a postcard either.
Right. Yeah, like some of them are going to be more urgent, like you said. So it's going to be take a little more aggressive outreach, just depending upon the situation and the problem you're solving. So yeah, that's a really good thing to point out. All right, guys. Well, before we get to the giveaway, one last reminder. And let's see, I had one more in the chat. Uh, Submitting the homework. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Uh, I'll say, the homework that you guys did here, again, you can complete that with DealMachine. We can use that 7-day free trial with the unlimited free skip tracing and the contact info, right? In addition to that, you've got the office hours. So Kim had talked about it. We're live, 4 days a week. We're live even tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So Ryan's going to be on there. You get a good crowd on there for pretty much every single one of those. So whether you have a specific question you want answered live and not in just the support chat, or you just want to learn and can continue to pick up pro tips and continue to get better and better at this, I'd recommend joining and checking out the group. So bookmark that link. Make sure you guys have that at your disposal. I do want to say before we get to the giveaway, one last message here. You guys may have completed the homework and you may not have. Like it was not easy. It was a challenge for a reason. Like we gave you guys hard deadlines. We helped you. We were really giving you big goals. Like we had a very specific reason why we wanted to get you to that 100 leads. You're on a path to success when you do that. And not only did you add leads, but you did the hard part of reaching out. And I mean, we had people, Matthew right there, like 21 opportunities from that. That's amazing. Like I love to see, that's why we do it, guys. We love to see those success stories. But even if you aren't there yet, if you're just getting started, you're in a much better position than you were 7 days ago, right? Like you've gone through this training, you have the knowledge now, you have the playbook, you have the tool, you've got everything to just go out there and make things happen. So I just want to celebrate you guys for taking action, for showing up, for the handful that did the homework. Awesome job. Like we had a great homework completion rate. I know again we made it hard, and it's great to see you guys that are committed there. So. Kim, do you have any other advice on like where they should go from here in terms of, these 7 great days? Like, how do we make this last way longer than just 7 days?
Well, first of all, if you haven't done the homework, go do it, because it does work. I've learned you just do what the guy on the screen tells you to do. It works just like they say it does. So go do it. And those of you that have done it, do it again. So I'm pretty sure everybody that got the good results are probably in there doing it again tomorrow and the next day. And the guys and gals that get out there and do it, they're going to be doing deals. And those that are finding life gets in the way all the time and having excuses, they're not going to get there until they do it. So
Yep. So use this as a launching pad, like you said there, Kim, of hey, you've got it, the steps to take, build that consistency in, find a way to make it happen, build it into your routine like that. And when you have good habits like that and you keep doing it over and over, like you are going to get better and better and better at this. And put in the reps to be able to just statistically, it's not if you're going to do deals, it's when you're going to do deals. It's just a matter of getting enough no's to get to that yes. So yeah, our new way of Matthew said is our absolutely our new way of warming up leads. That's awesome. I love it. So fantastic, guys. Well, finally time here. I'll try to stick around and answer any final questions you guys have here too, but I do want to give away a huge prize. So it's going to be worth again over, was it 2,500 bucks, right? Big, 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 big prize here. Tonight's winner, what they're going to get. First thing is an entire year of Deal Machine Pro. So Deal Machine Pro is everything unlocked, all of the main features you need. You've got everything that comes to the driving for dollars, the planned route mode, the list building, all that's built in. You've got, all of our advanced mail features. You've got up to 50,000 leads you can add to Deal Machine. You've got all, direct mail, lower prices unlocked. You've got all the skip tracing comes included for free with those 50,000 leads. I mean, that would normally be 5-6 grand right there to pay for phone numbers and emails. You've got that all included for a year, all free. And then you've got on the tools that I just showed you. You've got the AI tool for analysis, the MLS tool, the little light CRM, the dialer, everything unlocked right there for you guys free. I'll introduce you to our head of customer success. He's happy to help you guys make sure you're successful too. So you'll kind of get that white glove service right there. And then on top of all that, you're gonna get an additional $100 free of postcards and calling minutes, all unlocked for you right there. So that is a massive value. You had to, again, turn in the homework and be on live. So you had to have put in the work and then be on live tonight to win this thing. So, if I love to see, here we go. They've got people in the chat ready to go, ready to win this thing. Let me pull up the list of people who turned in the homework, and I'll put it in our wheel of names right here to show off a winner. So, Kim, can you monitor the chat if there's any questions,
yeah.
it's only for me. But if there's any other last minute questions, I'm happy to answer that while I'm pulling this up here too. Let's see, guys. Got this pulled up all right here. Fantastic. A couple of you are our email addresses, so I'll verify if it was an email address that wins, I'll verify who that is, make sure they're on here. But Kim, any questions that popped up? Are we good?
We're waiting with bated
All
breath.
right. Guys, if you think you're gonna win, put that in the chat. Here we go. Love it. So I see we got Eddie on here, Matthew Brook. We got quite a few people that did the homework. So awesome. Now let's see here. I don't see any questions in the chat. Well, Kim, if you can give me a little drum roll here, please. Let's go, guys. Here we go. Let's see the winner of entire year of Deal Machine Pro with the service, with the extra marketing credits.
Tick, tick, tick. Tick.
D. Smith Rhea. Is it Desdemona or hold on? Let me double check. D. Smith Rhea. Are they
I
on?
believe so. Is that you, Desdemona?
Yes, it's me. Here we go. Hey, awesome.
Hey.
Desdemona, congratulations. Awesome. Love to see that. Way to put in the work. Are you in a spot where you can unmute? I love to hear uh love to hear your experience at all. And I think you were on the master class today, weren't you? Right?
That
We
was
were
class today too.
yeah.
Yes, trying to learn how to use this thing more fully for everything that I'm doing, like for all the properties, whether it's for wholesaling, driving for dollars, whatever the case, just to be able to keep like even the notes and stuff in one place. So I'm trying to learn how to fully optimize. So including having team members.
Mhm.
So I
Hey,
have one that already like I can't afford the software, but I still want to do so. I really appreciate this prize.
amazing. I mean, you earned it. You put in the hard work. You turned in the homework and everything. And again, I will make sure right after this, I'll introduce you to my team, make sure you get all hooked up. But yeah, now you've got a year to go do this, figure it out, to get the best practices in. And now you're basically obligated to do deals at this point. So please keep us updated on when you do that first one.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic, guys. Well, Kim,
We
great.
do have some questions though that are coming
Yes.
in. Matt is asking, can we get an API to integrate our leads with other apps like Go High Level or some
Yep.
other fully functional high level CRM?
Yes. So absolutely. If you go inside Deal Machine, we have API documentation to be able to kind of, if you're more technical, we've got Open API to work with. We have a Zapier integration too, if that's easier. So let me pull up inside the app where to find that. Let's see. I believe that's under that application. Here we go. Yep. So here I'll show you guys. If you go in your Deal Machine account, let me share my screen here again if I can find it. Too many things going on. Here we go. So inside your Deal Machine account, you click on your profile, you go to your application settings, and then API right here. So that's going to give you kind of documentation, the API key right here. And then again, we've got Zapier, Zapier.com for people who prefer that. So you've got a couple ways to kind of transfer data in and out.
And my question would be, seeing who your partners are on your list, does this integrate at all with a call porter? Having
Mhm.
them do like if they call back, having them take the call back and talk to the seller.
Absolutely. That's something we team up with them. I mean, we have ballpoint marketing, as you mentioned, call porters, same owners. We team up with them all the time. In my own personal business, we call with Deal Machine and use mail and all that stuff. But then we have call porter answer our calls because I'm doing the day job and call porter is kind of my inbound receptionist essentially. And then I take the conversation from there. So yeah, absolutely. Vince who helps run the call porter marketing and things like that. We do deals together here in St. Louis. So if anyone wants an intro to call porter, I'm Kim, you know him as well, or me, or
I have a button for them.
nice. There we go. Perfect. So absolutely, we team up all the time with them.
Okay, cool. And if you're looking for direct mail tips, like how to send direct mail and what it should say, we have a lovely webinar with Ballpoint Marketing on how they do a lot of their marketing, not necessarily their particular letters, but how they market to different kinds of lists. So I have that as well. So
Great.
help you figure out what you want to send, which postcard looks better.
There we go. Love it.
All right. Well, cool. Congratulations to our winner.
Yeah, no kidding. Awesome job, guys.
Wow. And
Uh,
congratulations to Matt in getting all the leads. And I'm going to hopefully see everybody else has all these leads when they actually do all the work. So,
Yep. There we go. So you saw it works right there, guys. Love to see the progress we made in just a couple days and 7 days. And again, don't use this as like oh, someday I'll do this. Like use this as a chance to really take action, really get out there, do a great job to end the year, and you're going to go into 2025 strong and be ready to go and have a great rest of the year when a lot of people are mailing it in right now. Like now is the time you can step up and really stand out.